Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo to present. Our top stories in the news tonight: thieves raid transformer cables in LUSAKA'S KANYAMA compound, leaving over 300 households in the dark. UPND Alliance spokesperson disappointed in Cornelius MWEETWA'S statement over jobs. Socialist Party confident Membe is the sort needed by the Zambian people. In international news, U.S. Supreme Court overturns landmark Roe v. Wade abortion ruling. And in sports news, NALI TOUTS Big Bang start for Copper Queens. Another news in detail. Over 300 households of KANYAMA compound in Lusaka have been left in the dark after unknown people stole electrical cables to a transformer that supplies power to the area. A senior resident, Bishop Bwanani Piri, tells Camnet News that this is the third time that unscrupulous people are stealing the cables in a period of 1 year. Another resident, identified as Miriam, says the matter was reported to the power utility company on Tuesday, the 21st of June 2022, but the utility company has failed to show up to check on the situation. More in this report.
Electricity is an essential part of modern life and important to Zambia's economy. People use electricity for lighting, heating, cooling and refrigeration, as well as for operating appliances, computers, electronics, machinery and public transportation system. These residents of Lusaka's KANYAMA compound have, however, been deprived an opportunity to have electricity because some unscrupulous people decided to steal electricity cables at the transformer, which supplies power to the area. A senior citizen named Bishop Bwanani Piri tells Camnet News that this is the third time that thieves are stealing cables at this transformer in almost a year, and says the power utility company has not been doing a good job in ensuring that the transformer is kept safe from interference by the general public.
Since we didn't have the power, some years we had the power, so ZESCO brought us this transformer. Almost this year we've lost 3 times. People come and stealing cables in many switch. You can see even that side they've stolen everything. Over 300 houses have no power this time. Because last almost 4 weeks they replaced another one. Within 4 weeks they came again stolen again.
Others have explained that the situation was reported to ZESCO on Tuesday, 21st June 2022, when the incident occurred, but that the power utility company has not gone to assess the situation. Miriam, a resident, says this has affected businesses in the area and has called for quick intervention.
Just because they were kawalala. So atipe mpashuwa kuti wakapokola shuwa mayanganileko ndafasinga kwanza kuti sochabe tizima nkama tu yalipanja manga pena seka yakapanga kuventisakila mayanganeko lupa security ngati pali transform magazika po bani
pino ochera ngudeni akadia ma elephant ugeni ma lions.
And efforts to get a comment from ZESCO spokesperson Henry Kapata proved futile by broadcast time. Vandalism of public properties, however, remains a crime that attracts a sentence of not less than 2 years. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Harry Mwanga Nkombola Ward 12 Councillor Aaron Mwanza has revealed that the Finnish government has agreed to fund the recycling project at Chunga dump site in Lusaka. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Mwanza says this is one way of reducing plastic waste and creating employment opportunities for the local people. The area councillor explains that once the project commences, the waste scavengers who earn as low as 7 kwacha per kilogram of waste collected will begin to make decent money. More in this report.
Waste scavenging is a common form of self-employment for many Zambian citizens, especially those from low-income households. This job is most common in Zambia's capital city, Lusaka, an activity that mainly happens at Chunga dump site, which has remained an enormous heap of garbage for years, as only more waste gets added every day. From the break of dawn till the setting of the sun, many come here looking for various types of waste to sell to those in the recycling business, risking many health hazards, as there is no limit to what is discarded here. Despite this back-breaking work, the scavengers have continued to earn as low as 7 kwacha per kilogram of waste collected.
Yes, about 3 kwacha, 2 kwacha, so ya bwele lupa 1 kwacha. Binangu na ma 70 ngwe. Muntu sanga pesa profit bwene. Masaka teze kupeleka pali 5 kwacha per kg. Ngati mwapereka bazakupa samanje 3 kwacha per kg baju bako na masaka yenangu ati ayale mesemaningi taaju bafuka kumbali batenga mahala. So ma challenge abentima fisingana na
business yatu ili price yaka ili roma nyingi. At least kaidi kudoba manjini vija at least sometimes ka business ka stako vija sometimes ka business ka kulako. So tungala kuna challenge ya mine mwayo.
Harry Mwanga Nkombola Ward 12 Councillor Mr. Aaron Mwanza has therefore reviewed that local scavengers will soon be empowered as the Finnish government has come on board to provide funding to transform the dump site. In an interview, Mr. Mwanza explains that this will also see locals being empowered with machinery to venture into recycling.
We want to change into a green economy. What do we mean? We'll be using the waste, generating waste into energy. So meaning that waste will create what? Money, will create energy, will create also employment to those people, scavengers who have been there mushrooming for so long time.
It is hoped that this initiative will also reduce plastic pollution. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has opposed the step taken by the current administration to begin the process of reviewing the Public Order Act. Mr. Kampyongo has told Camnet News that the Patriotic Front administration already began the process of the review, which the UPND administration must build on. He says the draft bill reached up to second reading in Parliament and was done with a consultation of various stakeholders. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwembo Thursday announced the launch of the review process of the Public Order Act, which he says will be done at a cost of 4 million kwacha. More in this report.
The move by the United Party for National Development UPND administration to begin the review process of the Public Order Act POA has been welcomed by many stakeholders in the governance circle. Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Mr. Jack Mwembo on Thursday launched the roadmap towards the review process of the POA at a cost of 4 million kwacha. The act is alleged to have been used by many ruling political parties to disadvantage their political opponents as it regulates gatherings, protests, and other similar meetings. The minister further stated that the review process will be done with widespread consultations from political parties and the church, among other stakeholders, to ensure that it upholds constitutional rights. In an interview, former Minister of Home Affairs under the Patriotic Front, Mr. Stephen Kampyongo, has however described the process as a waste of money, urging the UPND to adopt the draft bill, which was started under the previous administration.
You should know that we had started that process and the material is there. There was even a draft there was a bill that came to Parliament which I presented, and it went up to second reading. After a wide range of consultation, the officers from Zambia Police are still there who worked on the document. The officers at the Ministry of Justice are still there. The Law Development Agents officers who worked on the bill are still there. So there's no need to waste time. The draft bill which is there is good enough. It was accepted by a wide range of stakeholders, and that money can be saved for other need areas.
Meanwhile, Governance Elections Advocacy Research Services GEARS Initiative Executive Director Mr. McDonald Chipenzi has also welcomed the move.
Secondly, we also want to appeal to all stakeholders, the media, NGOs, political parties, traditional leaders, to take an interest in this process so that we produce a law that all of us will be very happy about. And we hope that the politician in Parliament will not play politics or be destructive to this debate once it is taken into Parliament.
Southern African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes SACOD Executive Director Mr. Boniface Chembe says reviewing the POA 4 years before the next general elections will allow for objective contributions.
As such, we expect stakeholders to take full advantage of the review process and professionally input into the review of it. It is now incumbent upon all stakeholders to take full responsibility and participate in the process without fear or favor.
Citizens are waiting to see the new law, which will repeal and replace the old one. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The United Party for National Development UPND Alliance Council of President's spokesperson Daniel Shimunza has advised the UPND party spokesperson Cornelius MWEETWA to focus on party issues and not extend his position to the alliance partners. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Shimunza notes that the statement by Mr. MWEETWA that the opposition parties in the alliance did little to nothing in the UPND's victory is insensitive and disrespectful to the people who wanted nothing but to liberate the Zambian people from the ills of the previous regime. Mr. Shimunza, who is Movement for National Transformation President, further says the alliance partners are still committed to supporting President Hakainde Hichilema in delivering the promises made to the Zambian people. More in this report.
After failing to occupy public office for at least 5 times, 2021 was finally his year. President Hakainde Hichilema, who others described as a political failure due to failed alliances in the past, was in 2021 joined by at least more than 10 political parties who felt the United Party for National Development shared the same views of alleviating the Zambian people from the ills inflicted on them by the Patriotic Front. According to the general perspective of almost all alliance partners, the Zambian people needed a breath of fresh air by ushering in a new leadership, which was only possible if political parties rallied behind the opposition UPND. What seemed to be a solid partnership is seemingly falling apart as some alliance partners feel left out. Out of at least 10 political parties, only 7 have been appointed into leadership, while others are left in the cold. This has seen some political parties complaining, with the highest speech being All People's Congress Party leader Nason Musoni. But UPND spokesperson Cornelius MWEETWA Friday told the media that the UPND alliance partners played a minimal role to its victory.
To say everyone must be in cabinet is demanding too much. Now, if members who joined the alliance, some in June, and 2 months later we went to the elections, want to be in cabinet, what about UPND members who were in this party for 22 years and are nowhere in cabinet or anything? What should they feel? What should they think? What should they say? We believe that society changes when individuals make choices and pursue a purpose bigger than themselves.
In response to this, Council of Presidents spokesperson Daniel Shimunza says Mr. MWEETWA's sentiments are misplaced, divisive and disappointing to the people who wanted to see change in Zambia.
We are very disappointed with the remarks echoed by the UPND spokesperson, Cornelius Mwetwa. He must confine himself to his job as a party spokesperson, not interfere with the presidential spokesperson, the government spokesperson, or the alliance partners. The statements that he issued to the effect that the alliance partners contributed very little to the election are false, unwarranted, and undesirable. The Zambian people are aware that it's this alliance that gave the UPND the national character and the ability to garner the 2.8 million votes that came in the last election. And therefore, we as Alliance Council of Presidents, to which the Republican President and the Vice President belong, we feel that this is an insult to the President himself, as well as the Vice President, who are part of this alliance that delivered for the Zambian people. Our commitment is to ensure that we deliver the change and the prosperity for the Zambian people and not involve ourselves with petty issues that the UPND spokesperson has tried to drag us into.
Whether or not the alliance partners played a huge or minimal role in the UPND's victory of the 2021 general election remains subject of great debate. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, immediate past National Mobilization Chairperson, Reverend Sylvia Nawa, has charged that the MMD is not for auction to the highest bidder. Reverend Nawa says the former president of the party, Dr. Nevas Mumba, has no power to drag MMD into an alliance with any party because such critical decisions can only be endorsed by the highest organ of the party, which is the National Convention. And MMD leader Gaston Sichilima has wondered how the United Party for National Development, UPND, has been preaching rule of law but also embracing Dr. Mumba in the name of the alliance while he is repping the party constitution. More in the following report.
Even if President Hakainde Hichilema and myself had not sat down to agree on this partnership, the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy still has a democratic right to support what is right and to say no to what is wrong.
On 25th October 2021, the leader of the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy, MMD, Dr. Nevas Mumba, announced the intention of his party to join the United Party for National Development, UPND alliance, in a quest to contribute to the development of the country. The plans were advanced on 7th March 2022 when the party founder member Henry Molenga wrote an application that the MMD party, led by Dr. Mumba, be admitted into the UPND alliance. This decision has, however, not sat well with the MMD members, such as the immediate past National Mobilization Chairperson, Reverend Sylvia Nawa, who has charged that the MMD is not for auction to the highest bidder.
I would like to remind Dr. Sekwila Mumba and his henchmen that MMD is not for auction to the highest bidder. This is a movement whose tenets are embedded in its party constitution. The MMD has a spirit of collective decision-making, not individualism. Hence, members too have rights according to the party constitution.
Reverend Nawa, who was speaking at a press briefing in Lusaka Saturday morning, says Dr. Mumba has already been expelled from the party as his tenure of office according to the party's constitution expired in April this year, and only the National Convention can determine who the next leader will be.
Calling upon my colleagues I worked with during the time I was national chairperson for mobilization to realize that Dr. Nevas Mumba is a failed politician who can never take any political party anywhere. Hence, they should come out and join hands with a progressive group of MMD members who are genuinely pushing for the restoration of democracy in our party.
And MMD leader Gaston Sichilima says Dr. Mumba has for years been trying to change the party's constitution, such as Article 41, which stipulates that the president of the party shall hold office for 2 terms of 5 years each and shall not be eligible for re-elections.
You are all aware that the UPND government has been preaching rule of law. Now we wonder how they can be embracing Dr. Mumba in the name of the alliance, while he is raping the party constitution. This maneuver by Dr. Mumba will not be taken lightly by Operation Save MMD, as we are determined to defend our hard-earned democracy in our party.
Mr. Sichilima also says the judgment ruled by the court in favor of Dr. Mumba in 2019 will now be a thing of the past, considering that Dr. Mumba's tenure of office has come to an end and that party members themselves are the ones who have decided that he leaves the party. Meanwhile, efforts to get a comment from Dr. Mumba proved futile by broadcast time. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Democratic Party leader Harry Calabar has challenged the United Party for National Development to do more in achieving economic development. In an interview, Mr. Calabar says that the UPND is slow in implementing certain things which raises more questions as to whether the party was indeed ready to govern the country. The opposition leader says the party has been in office for close to a year now, but has nothing to show for it. And Mr. Calabar has urged the UPND to strategize its fight against corruption, stating that various arrests without convictions are not encouraging.
They'll be doing 1 year in office after next month. There's been no clear direction on many fronts. We have not seen anything that has been tangible on their part. They have been talking more and being very selective in their fight against corruption. Today they catch this one, they get embarrassed, the person gets acquitted. Tomorrow they jump on that one, they get embarrassed, the person is acquitted. The other day they, just like a grasshopper from one person to the other, and it's all political. I think that should come to an end. We don't want political persecutions in this country. We want the fight against corruption to be above board.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua has noted the need for the general public to be sensitized on the dangers of littering. Mr. Nanjua says litter can contain objects that can harm or cause physical injury to both people and animals. The provincial minister says carelessness has bred a culture of habitual littering, typically causing people to become too lazy and unwilling to throw away trash appropriately. Mr. Nanjua was speaking at Nalusanga Wildlife Sector, Kafue National Park in Mumba District of Central Province shortly after cleaning the area in commemoration of the global community. More in this report.
It has always been a great concern on how the country is left to suffer environmental degradation by the unconscious or consciously actions of its citizens, the way cities, towns and villages are nonchalantly left to the maze of plastic bags littering is subjected to intensively and uncontrollably damaging the environment is very worrying. It is how the disposal of plastic that continue to greatly alarm the nation. The bags or water bottles after use are chunked away anyhow and anywhere. The propensity for littering by the people, coupled with the accumulation of the used and discarded bags in public places and the countryside, does pose not only health and safety hazards to the public but also to the ecology of the country. Government, through Central Province Minister, notes the need for adequate sensitization to the public on the dangers posed in littering anyhow. Speaking at Nalusanga Wildlife Sector, Kafue National Park in Mumba District after cleaning the area in commemoration of the Global Community Day, Central Province Minister, who is also Mumba lawmakers, urges the public to keep their environment clean.
Sensitization and education, as the senior warden has highlighted, there's a lot of need for education to the community members so that they can learn of all these things, that wherever you are, you should maintain the environment clean. But what we have seen is that people are still dropping bottles after drinking, they throw wherever they are. And also this goes to the motorists who drives along this road, the passengers on buses. We have heard that each time the collection of this litter is more where there are speed humps. When the bus slows down, then people have got the chance to throw out their litter from the bus. We are encouraging people that they should be discouraged from doing such kind of things.
He has since called on citizens to work together with government in order to sustain the environment without leaving anyone behind.
It has caused a lot of littering around. So when that litter flies, it gets into the Kafue National Park, which is a threat to wildlife. You know, these plastics, when an animal swallows, definitely an animal dies. So this is very difficult for us. It's a big challenge. We need to fight it for us to promote tourism in the country and in the province and also in our district. So we are trying to show this good example and appreciate City Bank Zambia for this initiative and gesture under their corporate social responsibility that they are able to plow back the community in terms of sponsoring such kind of programs. As government, we are highly committed to ensure that we mitigate the issues of climate change.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
There's so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says the impact late Chief Justice Irene Mambilima made to the development of Zambia is enormous, and she will continue to be remembered for her fight in promoting fairness and justice during her time of service. In a speech read on his behalf by Justice Minister Mulambo Haimbe during the first memorial service of the late Chief Justice Mambilima, President Hichilema emphasized the need to uphold her legacy by ensuring the path she started of taking justice closer to the people continues. The head of state has also commended the judiciary for actualizing the expectations of the late Chief Justice by ensuring that access to justice is passed through the blessing of High Court judges in all the 10 provinces. More in this report.
The country Saturday morning held a national ceremony to mark the first anniversary of the death of Zambia's first female Chief Justice, Irene Mambilima. Minister of Justice Mulambo Haimbe, Chief Justice Mumba Malila, attended the ceremony held at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross along with other top government officials. Also in attendance was the country's former First Lady, Esther Lungu. Solemn music as well as messages of appreciation to the late former Chief Justice who died on the 20th of June 2021 after an illness characterized the ceremony before moving to the Memorial Park. The late former Chief Justice Mambilima undoubtedly left an indelible mark in the hearts of many. Remembered for an array of milestones, one that arguably stands out is our massive contribution to the judiciary as well as the country. Republican President Hakainde Hichilema says the late Chief Justice Irene Mambilima will continue to be remembered for a massive contribution toward the justice system and the development of the country. He said this in a speech read on his behalf by Justice Minister Mulambo Aimbe.
There is no better way to honor the memory of this gallant daughter of the soil than pursuing and promoting the very values and principles that shaped her life. We must ensure that women are educated so that they can assert themselves, and also ensure that the courts are taken closer to the people, especially to rural and peri-urban areas where people with low income reside and where courts are largely absent. We will forever thank God for the life and legacy of this gallant legal luminary, Lady Justice Mambilima, to the legal profession.
Meanwhile, Chief Justice Mumba Malila says the judiciary will continue to emulate her.
Consoled by the fact that she filled those years with purpose, a gracious spirit, and faithful service to God and to Mother Zambia to the very end of her life. As she now rests in the bosom of our Lord, the family, we in the judiciary and the nation at large should continue to show gratitude to God Almighty for giving us an opportunity to share part of our life with us. We are proud of our late Chief Justice.
Family and friends describe her as an iron lady, a true pillar of justice. May her soul continue to rest in peace. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Cybersecurity Initiative Foundation President John Tisenke has called for a quick review of the Cybersecurity Act of 2021. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. Tisenke says among the clauses that should be reviewed is that of the cyberbullying, which does not speak to the details of its purpose. The Initiative Foundation President adds that various provisions of the Act have been repealed because they are targeted more at individuals than all people.
Changes in the cybersecurity bill, which I think to criminalize cyberbullying should be a very serious matter, and we have to draw the lines. What is bullying and what's not bullying? The bullying aspect of the cyber law itself should be properly looked at and considered, so that we can remove all the lacunas, connected to cyberbullying, because that is where the main issue is. And when we in the new act, I want cyberbullying to be properly defined in the act so that it should speak straight to what cyberbullying itself means. That's the biggest, because cyberbullying up to now is the biggest cyber crime we see every day when we wake up on Facebook. I think that's the most important one that we should look at, because the rest of the other laws, they really not, they all point to cyber bullying, because cyberbullying is the main one, because the cybersecurity itself talks about issues to do with the internet, and cyberbullying is the main problem, which should be properly looked at. Some of indecent material should also be regulated. We should have, I think, a team, a team who should be the complainants. For instance, the police should have a team that monitors everyday activity on Facebook in terms of who is posting indecent materials, and the police should be themselves the complainants and arrest those who be offenders and prosecute them. We should at least make this punishment stiffer, so at least maybe then we are going to have more decency, because people will be scared. Should I post my nudes on Facebook, the police or Zikta is going to pounce on me and I will be sentenced to so.
Some traders in Lusaka's Mtendere compound have welcomed the translation of the Constituency Development Fund's CDF guidelines into local languages. In an interview with Camnet News, Alice Kabinga says doing so will limit the barriers that most people are facing in accessing the funds. She says most women who want to benefit from the CDF initiative do not really understand the guidelines because they are written in English. More in this report.
22nd June 2022, Local Government Minister Gary Nkombo at a media briefing in Lusaka said government has started reviewing the implementation of the Increased Constituency Development Fund, CDF, to address issues hindering people from accessing the funds. Mr. Nkombo said his ministry has also developed sensitization materials to be disseminated through various platforms to enhance knowledge on CDF opportunities and procedures for the public. He said the materials have also been translated in various languages to enhance coverage during dissemination and understanding of the guidelines. This has elated some Mutendere market traders who say the move will help those that don't understand the guidelines better. Speaking to Camnet News, Alice Kavinga, who opted not to be on camera, says it has been a challenge for her especially to understand the guidelines for the process due to the fact that they are in English.
So mitundu yonse bayikepo ela monga ma process ya jamani bakamba kusegula account kushita bwanji nilongo process bafupikise chabe kuti muntu aliyense akwanise kutenga kanga chepe makamaka lazima ibo gulisa mu market.
And another trader identified as Martha says it is a welcome move to ensure equal participation from all walks of life.
Good idea. Kulingana kuti sponsor mnanga understand chizungu. Era kuti sponsor mnewanga berenge. Kulivena nguba mbira chidonga bena nguchizungu bena kunwakupata na kunwabemba. So wafunika kuleta mu vitu bonse so that wantu wonse angale understand the program kuti ili bwanji. So that batipasa kwa fast drama because it has might vutika. Now that nzoka 04 on the border kuja kutoa president wetu angali pambana tuwakonda sizakayeka pano wakonda.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Government, through the Ministry of Agriculture in partnership with the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, has continued with its commitment to training agricultural frontliners and farmers on how to manage and control the 4 armyworms outbreaks in all 10 provinces. Ministry of Agriculture National Project Coordinator for Emergency Response to the 4 armyworms outbreak in Zambia, Shadrack Mwale, says the training of agriculture officers and farmers is aimed at building the technical capacity in how to manage the pests. Pest management, IPM, and reducing the risk of chemicals in the control of pests is one way of the management. Mr. Mwale was speaking to NAIS after concluding the training program for the Ministry of Agriculture officers funded by FAO in Solwezi. More in the following report by Crevet Chituta of NAIS.
The outbreak of 4 armyworms in the past 7 years has left the destruction in the farmers' fields. And Northwestern Province has not been spared with the invasion of the pest attacking maize fields. No wonder government through the Ministry of Agriculture in partnership with Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, are here with the emergency response to the 4 armyworms outbreak in Zambia project on how to manage the pest. Shadrack Mwale is the Minister of Agriculture, Emergency Response to the 4 armyworms outbreak in Zambia, National Project Coordinator.
It is trying to build the technical capacities in terms of the management of 4 armyworm for both our field staffs and also the farmers. The first line of, in terms of the capacities, is how to manage the pest using integrated pest management with chemicals as a last resort. And second, it is also reducing the risk which are accompanied by use of chemicals.
As part of the training, the participants visited one of the affected fields in Solwezi to appreciate the infestation of the pest.
So we want, going forward with the training that we've had, we cascade it to our camp extension officers so that they will in turn cascade it also to the farmers.
Yeah, the knowledge that we have obtained here, we are going to share with our farmers out there in the district so that they have also the information.
We are grateful even for the government for bringing in the program of giving the farmers the chemicals.
Other experts were also part of the visit to explain the role of other departments in the ministry.
Our role is, of course, to manage pests of economic importance. One of them is farm, so that at least our farmers can harvest or have something at the end of the day.
As a plant quarantine and phytosanitary service,
we make sure whatever is being imported into our country is free from pests and diseases.
So for the participants, I want them to realize that as Ministry of Agriculture, we are change agents. So this message should really be strong with us. We know that farmers are using these chemicals. So every time we have an opportunity, let's endeavor to sensitize farmers on the dangers of using pesticides.
Mukaba is FAO project officer.
We do hope that those of you who participated in this training will apply the importance that this whole program deserves. This is critical for the country.
The project, which is funded by FAO Emergency Division, is expected to run for a period of 1 year. Clifford Chituta reporting in Solwezi, Northwestern Province.
The Socialist Party has charged that Fred Membe is the sort needed to liberate the Zambian people. Speaking at a meeting in NALI constituency, graced by senior party officials, Party Presidential Advisor Preston Chinyama says the party has a clear agenda for national development with the full participation of women. Mr. Chinyama notes that women are the first respondents to many things, hence receiving the most shock of an ailing economy. Meanwhile, Women Mobilization Committee Chairperson Lydia Perry has encouraged women in NALI constituency to rise above the occasion as they prepare for the 2026 elections. More in this report.
The Socialist Party, one of the fast-growing opposition political parties, offering an alternative leadership, at least according to their leader, Fred Membe. In 2021 general election, the Socialist Party came fifth out of the 16 political parties that took part in the election. Since then, the party has managed to participate in by-elections held since last year, regardless of them not winning a seat thus far. The party is, however, focused on the 2026 general election. In this regard, the party members are mobilizing themselves from the grassroots with a team meeting in NALI constituency on Saturday. Presidential political advisor Preston Chinyama is disappointed in the ruling party thus far, urging the people to open their eyes and choose development through socialism.
Hold half of the sky.
Balandiro kwebati banamayo eba ikatirire ntanda chitika mchibemba.
True to those sentiments, when we went into the election last year,
election 2021,
it was the Socialist Party in totality which committed itself to according an opportunity to female candidate participation. We committed ourselves to give an opportunity to 50% of the total candidature. The Bali who promised to deliver Christmas every day for Zambia, Abalamuga.
Bali atibali walandiro kwebati donse yakola Christmas na butuka.
Remind the Zambian people. Remind the Zambian people that when Bali promised to say Milimi was going to cost 50 kwacha,
10
months down the line, the cost is still far beyond the 100 kwacha. Remind the Zambian people that when they promised the 4 kwacha Tungwe fuel deduction, they are not anywhere close to that promise today.
The party also says its agenda for inclusivity is a unique feature that will enable the country to develop quicker once given a chance beyond 2026. Asho Kampengele is national chairperson for the party.
So I'm Fred. Comrade Fred is the right person. Tomfana, when he was the president, was running the post, about to official good PF win. Even MWEETWA'S win the post. Now, what can stop the same person to become the president of this country?
Nganda tetu. Ukwabulana mayo nishtakuli nganda. So ichi pani pakuti chikoseni fwe bana mayo.
We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
And now in international news, the fight against terrorist insurgents continues in Mali. The National Armed Forces announced Friday that more than 60 alleged terrorists were killed in the country's troubled central region. It is there that suspected jihadists massacred more than 130 civilians on June 18. The authorities also reported that 2 lookouts were neutralized. In a separate operation in the south of the country, 8 suspected terrorists were arrested. And in other international stories, several American states are now in the process of banning or restricting abortion after the Supreme Court struck down a landmark ruling on Friday. Roe v. Wade had generated a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy with the first 12 weeks. For more in international news, here are stories.
The fight against terrorist insurgents continues in Mali. The National Armed Forces announced Friday that more than 60 alleged terrorists were killed in the country's troubled central region. It is there that suspected jihadists massacred more than 130 civilians on June 18. The authorities also reported that 2 lookouts were neutralized. In a separate operation in the south of the country, 8 suspected terrorists were arrested. The military announcement came on the same day as the prime suspect of the latest mass killings reportedly rejected any responsibility in the attack. The Malian government had blamed the Messina Katiba for the massacre of civilians in Jalasagou and 2 nearby towns in the central part of the country. The Al-Qaeda-affiliated terror group was created 7 years ago. Since 2012, the jihadi threat has spread from Mali to neighboring Burkina Faso and Niger. The battles, which are often bloodbaths, have forced thousands of civilians to flee. It has become common for Nigerians to spend as much as 8 hours queuing for fuel, as they lose most of the day waiting and not working. Prices for importing fuel have gone up by more than 100% because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. If the government has blocked petrol prices to 165 naira, or about 40 cents per litre, retailers complain they operate at a loss and motorists are tired.
I'm able to get fuel now and we consume the fuel. We have to come back to the queue again
and queue for a long period of time. And this is not helping us in any way. So, sir, I actually want to appeal to the government of the day to help us and to see what they can do to help the masses, because we are really suffering.
Nigeria is Africa's biggest oil producer. However, the West African nation imports almost all of its fuel since its 4 refineries fail to cover the population's needs.
So when people talk about lack of refineries functioning, why are we importing as one of the biggest producers in the world? Why is the price, why are we paying so heavily, you know, for subsidy, and the government keeps crying every day that it is unable to continue the burden, so-called burden of subsidy? It all boils down to the lack of planning. It all boils down to the lack of commitment.
The Economist doesn't believe the current situation, worsened by the war in Ukraine, is bound to remain unchanged. She urges the authorities to turn the problem into an opportunity.
Nigeria should stand at an advantage. That should be an opportunity for us to key into that market, you know, that openness, that vacuum that will have been created by Russia. We should see Europe, you know, some countries in Europe and other parts of the world, you know, fighting towards Nigeria, looking towards Nigeria for oil.
Nigeria is already Europe's first African liquefied natural gas supplier. Since the war erupted, Europe has looked for ways to strengthening the partnership. In the meantime, Nigerians continue to bear the brunt of a long-lasting energy crisis.
For some, this is what they've been working to for almost 50 years. As the Supreme Court decides access to an abortion is no longer a constitutional right, now the states can decide, and 26 states are likely to ban abortions in the coming weeks and months.
Once those words were read, that the decision of Roe v. Wade was reversed, I had kind of this mix of relief and excitement. It's really hard to describe, but a bunch of us just started bursting into tears.
Outside the Supreme Court, pro-abortion rights activists cried and raged at a court many of them consider illegitimate, confronted the anti-abortion rights activists,
Your body, your choice! Your body, your choice!
while both acknowledged they had no hope of changing minds.
It's hurtful. There are women who are dying. There are people who are going to go to jail for things they can't control in their own bodies because people who make the laws don't understand the science.
I will not stop being pro-life because science is on our side.
President Joe Biden was quick to condemn the decision.
It's a sad day for the court and for the country. Now, with Roe gone, let's be very clear. The health and life of women in this nation are now at risk.
This decision basically said that the Roe v. Wade decision was simply wrong. It is highly unusual for a Supreme Court to overrule precedent, especially one of this importance. So this court is unlikely to change its mind. Now the focus turns to Congress to try and get a law that guarantees abortion access.
Power concedes nothing without a demand, never has, never will. Do I think it's realistic that they will restore abortion rights if we sit home? Hell no. Do I think if we come out and raise bloody hell, if we flood these streets and don't go home, absolutely we can compel them to restore legal abortion on demand across this country, and nothing less than that is acceptable.
Polls show the majority of Americans didn't want this decision to happen. How much they care will determine if this is a permanent new reality in America.
It's now time for sports news. And in sports news tonight, Zambia women's national team goalkeeper Hazel NALI says her side will be looking to start their 2022 Africa Women's Cup of Nations AFCON campaign off on a high note when they take on Cameroon in their opener on the 3rd of July 2022. NALI says starting the tournament with a bang will set the tone for the Copper Queens' targets of winning the tournament and booking a place at the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup to be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand in 2023. She says Cameroon is angry with what Zambia did to it at the Olympic qualifiers, adding that the next Group B matches against Tunisia and Togo on July 6 and 9 respectively will not be easy. The Turkey-based goalminder will be making her third trip to Africa's biggest sporting extravaganza alongside defender Anita Mulenga, who appeared in the 2014 and 2018 editions.
Each and every game in this tournament is very important, like I said earlier on, and as it stands in women's football, no team is small, no team is big. It just comes out on how you take each and every game. So for us, we'll just take each game as it comes, and we'll take one game at a time. We'll not rush to say this one is an easy game, this one is a very tough game. We'll take each and every game serious. The friendly that we played and the friendly that we have ahead of us, they're just an insight of how we need to prepare before the games that we're playing. So I feel each and every position that we played, starting from my position to the up front, we made one or two mistakes, and of course the coaches have been working on that. And then if we can attack more and then not concede, it will be well and good for us. So that's what we're looking at as a team. My main objective is obviously to help the team win each and every game. And then if I'm to help the team win, obviously I'll have the chance to get maybe the player of the match and the golden glove. Of course, it's been our main objective because we did it before at the last COSAFA, and so I feel, yeah, that's just the main objective. We just need to focus and not look on the who plays well, who plays that side, but we just need to focus as a team. Of course, they've got some professional players in the teams of Cameroon, Tunisia, I don't know about Togo, but our main objective is just to focus on the aim that we have as a team, and I believe no name, no professional player, staff will work for other teams if you just focus on what we need as a team.
To end Camnet Television News, the headlines once again. Thieves raid transformer cables in LUSAKA'S KANYAMA compound, leaving over 300 households in the dark. UPND Alliance spokesperson disappointed in Cornelius MWEETWA'S statement over jobs. Socialist Party confident member is a sought needed by the Zambian people. In international news, U.S. Supreme Court overturns landmark Roe v. Wade abortion ruling. And in sports news, NALI touts Big Bang start for the Copper Queens. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Mark 10, verse 27. Looking at them, Jesus said, "With men it is impossible, but not with God, because all things are possible with God." Thank you so much for watching the news. My name is Jeffrey Siambo. Good night.